Crypto Hotep here with another budgeting video. We are looking and reconciling April 2026's budget. So, guys, thank you again for joining on this budgeting recap video. If you're unfamiliar with the video or if you're unfamiliar with the channel, go to my channel. I have a couple playlists that cover different topics: trading, investing, and now budgeting. So the budgeting playlist, I feel as though budgeting is the best foundation for any trading or investing strategy. And I think it's much needed. A lot of times, investors and traders, they get knee deep into investing and trading first and foremost, and they forget about the budgeting aspect, and then that's when you get wrecked, right? So that's why I'm making these videos, and also to keep myself honest with our family budget, and also helping me to reconcile our family budget as well. If you guys like the videos, if you appreciate these videos, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share them, if you will. But by no means is this financial advice. The tool that I am using to go through this budget is Monarch Money. There will be a link in the description if you want to sign up for that. I think somebody did from our first video, which was pretty cool. So yeah, Monarch Money. I've used them for a while now, and it's great. It's one of the best tools that I use on a daily basis, just to see where all of our money sits, just to budget our money correctly. It's fantastic. It is. Do you need this? No, you can just do the Google spreadsheet if you need to, or the Excel spreadsheet, whatever works for you. But we use this, and this is what I'm displaying here in this recording. Okay. So for April 2026, we'll start with the needs and fixed costs. And I made a couple changes. So in April, a couple things happened. So I made a couple changes to my categories, and I trimmed them down. I'll go over those when we discuss in a second here. Also, we had a couple appliances finally die out on us. Okay. After about 10, 11 years, we had a washer and dryer bid adieu to our household. So again, this is one of the reasons why budgeting comes into play, along with having an emergency fund and or sinking funds. Okay. In addition to that, we had it was my birthday month for April, and we also had a spring vacation trip. So I'll show you where all that's lined up. Now, for the sake of just kind of not giving all of the details with our family, the income piece is not being covered. Okay. We're just discussing specific costs and expenses here. Okay. This number here in the upper right, that is not the actual income level. So I wouldn't really look at that number, because I'll show you why it's different. Because I have also tracked our sinking funds in Monarch Money, and it changes that number consistently. So that doesn't represent any type of income. However, one thing that we should do is, by the end of our reconciling this budget, we should be near, there should be the end number should be around 500 to 1,000 or so. That's what normally happens when we do reconcile. And I don't reconcile our budget down right to the penny. I don't. It's more of, I like to track our money. I like to see where it goes. I like to see indiscrepancies when they come up, and I just like to know and be in the know of where everything is. Because, I feel as though if you have that financial literacy, it also translates into making better decisions when you're investing and trading too. Okay, so let's hop in here, guys. So for April, we're on the needs and fixed costs. Auto payment for the wife, that is still, that came out as planned here at 6/31. Finance bros, save me your gasps and your clutched pearls. Go to the first video in the budgeting playlist where I go over this whole methodology here. Groceries, it shows that groceries came in less because we're in the green here, but there's still a pending charge here that hasn't been debited as of yet. So this actually will align correctly. So the pending charge is, I believe it's around $375 or so. So we hit it right on the head there. Okay, so that's good. Mortgage, again, nothing's changed there. Vitamins and supplements, we actually went down here. DTE and electric, it doesn't show that it was paid, but the way that April's bill lined up, it was paid. It just is going to show in May, and it is pending right now as well. So this did get paid correctly. My wife's esthetician program, so as I mentioned before, my wife went back to school, come esthetician, so that $475 is the tuition amount, and that was paid. But we had an additional amount here of $34, and I think that was a little bit of supplies, so we're going to adjust that here. Okay, and then you can see this number did go down. Okay, let's go to gas. Gas was $224, so we spent on fuel, gas for cars, we spent $224. We budgeted $250. There was a little left over there. I think that this number will uptick in May. So gas is going to go, our budgeting for gas will go a little bit higher, unfortunately, due to gas prices, the whole conflict with U.S. and Iran. That price is going to go up this month, in May here. My wife's Jeep I filled up this past week, and that was over $100. So I already know, and that's almost half of this. So yeah, it's gonna go up. So interesting stuff there. You hate to see it, but it is what it is. Water, it did align up with, just like with DTE, so it did get billed correctly. We did pay that. My wife's nails, hair, and lashes, budget at $500, came out at $465, so a little bit left over, which is nice. That's a good thing. $35 there. Xfinity Comcast, $130 there, good to go. AT&T phone, so that's basically my wife's phone. Our middle and our youngest phone, they share a phone as well. And then a Apple Watch, that's $171. That aligns up perfectly. Gym membership, very easy, $18 right there. Our auto insurance right here is $587. This is for 3 cars. That aligned up correctly. So boom. And when you do the math, the auto insurance, it comes around, if you think about it, it comes around $260 or so. So not too bad per car. Housing expense. So this is one of the things that I actually consolidated for April. So the housing expense, I actually took into consideration what we had originally for the housing expense, which is we have certain things for our roofs that we were paying off, as well as some furniture that we were paying off. And then I also incorporated the Amazon purchases. So what I did was I consolidated our Amazon purchasing category, and I put majority of that money, or that allocated budgeting, in housing expense. And here's the reason why I did that. Just because it's Amazon, it doesn't deserve its own category. And it is what it is with Amazon. We get a lot of Amazon packages. I can just do a quick report to see how much money we gave Jeff Bezos for the year. What I figured is I would roll it into the housing expense, because majority of our purchases, other than random one-offs, are like subscribe and save Amazon purchases. And the reason why we're doing the subscribe and save is because most of the time it's for the house. Things like detergent, things like, hair products, those type of things. So those are like on subscribe and save, and those are housing expenses. Now, the reason why this number is so great that we went over this month is because of the washer and dryer. The washer and dryer pushed us over extensively for our budget. So for this month, For this month, we spent 2673 here, and we had budgeted 700. But again, that was for the washer and dryer, and that money came out of our emergency fund to pay for that. Okay. So again, this is one of the reasons why, if you are trading and investing, it is a great idea to allocate some of your money into an emergency fund, earning some form of interest. So when things like this happen, you can pull that money from a liquid savings account versus having to sell your assets. And this is what I had to do. I actually did the total opposite several years ago, where I had most of my money invested and it was allocated into investments, and I had to actually sell those investments off to recoup the cash so I can pay for certain things. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your money invested for as long as possible. So that means that you may have to take some of the money that you were going to invest it and not invest that and save it. So that's the smart thing to do. Okay, so that was a big chunk there, was that washer and dryer. And funny story is, washer and dryers really haven't gone up that much, which is very surprising. We bought our washer and dryer around 10 years ago. 10 years. Yeah, it was around 10 years ago at Lowe's, and this time we went to Costco. And we spent about $500 less for the washer and dryer now than we did 10 years ago. Pretty surprising. Okay, so haircuts came out even. We did get haircuts. Auto payment for me was $383. That came out. Very, even there. Consumers Energy, another, utility bill came out, $92 and $92. And then kids needs randomly here. So some of the stuff that we have for on the kids side are, let's see, and this is the main reason why we look at this every month. So for kids, we had, so normally we have our son does hip hop dance, so we have the hip hop dance fee for that. And then we also have our middle does trumpet, so we have to rent the trumpet for that. In addition to that, we also had, for this month, we had several school events. So that's another thing. With the kids, I would suggest, if you do have kids, making a kids sinking fund as well, so you can take some money out of that sinking fund for certain things, because things are always going to pop up with kids. That's just how life is. It's just stuff's always going to pop up with kids. So we had a band trip that we had to pay for our middle. We had some school pictures thrown in there, and we also had tickets for my son's hip hop dance performance in June that we had to pay for as well. So all that rolled up, it kind of pushed us over that budgeted amount there. Okay. So now, as we scroll down, everything here in our needs/fixed costs, everything is, I'm good with this. I know that we have a quote unquote remaining balance, but again, when I'm looking at the budget, I'm just looking to see discrepancies in where everything went. Okay, let's go to our wants right here and variable costs. So these are things that change every month typically. Okay, so family entertainment and eating out, we actually did pretty good. So we budgeted $300. We actually spent $211. That's not bad at all. So what actually happened? If you look at here, April was our lowest month. Last month we spent over $500, and we haven't been in the 200s since February. So this was really good. However, we did go on vacation. So you gotta, kind of gotta weigh it out here. So we went on vacation. There were some expenses with vacation as well that you have to keep in mind. Okay. We had another auto expense, which is a it's a car wash. It's a car wash subscription that we have. So that one came out normally. And then another thing I also did was I consolidated Apple purchases and Apple subscriptions, and I just consolidated that all in with subscriptions here. So our subscriptions now, we have a budget of about 150 per month, and we actually spent 136. So right on budget for that, and I'm okay with that. Now let's look back at what we've had going on here. So this category here for another wants, when things aren't budgeted in Monarch Money, you'll see them in the grade category right here, this grayed out category. That means they weren't budgeted, but they have an amount tied to them. Okay, so with random withdrawals and one-time purchases, I normally don't budget for that. Some of the Amazon purchases now fall into random one-time purchases. Okay, so I allocated some budgeting money for the Amazon purchases for the housing, and then for random one-offs. So like just random purchases you get from Amazon. So we'll adjust this here. 154 is okay in my book. That's normal for us. Just random, like, ATM withdrawals, random, Amazon stuff. So this is okay. We're good there. The other thing is we had some clothes and shopping. So we did have certain things to buy for the vacation. And then we also had some things to buy for sports as well. So that came out to around $925. The reason why I don't normally budget for clothes and shopping is because there are some months where we don't buy clothes. We don't go shopping for clothes. However, I try to allocate money into the clothes and shopping sinking fund. So, as much as we can, I try to put money in there. But I just don't budget for that because it's always going to be variable. It's never going to be consistent. Okay. So we just placed the $925 in here. And then last but not least is the travel and vacation right here. So travel and vacation, all in, we spent around $4,101. Now I look at that, it's a pretty penny there. And that's all in. So if we look at the vacation, our vacation, where's that at? Sorry, I'm pulling it up on my phone here. So all of that was, normally we pull out tip money for our vacation. If we're going to like a resort or anything like that, we'll pull out tip money. Those are also for meals in the airport. I allocated that under travel and vacation, not under family and entertainment, because if we weren't on the vacation, we wouldn't be eating at a airport. We also paid for our stay at that resort. So we reserved the resort, but we didn't pay it in full. We kept that money in our sinking fund so we could accrue that interest, and then we paid for that in full when we got to the resort. So again, there's those key words, guys, the sinking fund. So we had the money already allocated for this trip, and we had it accruing interest, and now it was finally time to pay the piper, so to speak. Okay, and then we had some little odds and ends in the vacation. We went on like a banana boat ride while we were there. Our middle got her hair braided as well. So all of that treed up into this travel and vacation category. So that all in, over $4,000. And again, that was a family of 4 going on vacation, just so you guys can get a picture of that. And would you look at that? This number, I said around 500 to 1,000. We came in $618 left to budget. That aligns with what I normally think about our budget and how it should end every month, and it looks good to me. One thing that I do like to point out and that I keep track of is I keep track of our investing and saving. This does not incorporate things like 401k or anything like that. what it does is it incorporates mostly just taxable brokerage accounts. This is a little low for the month, but that's because we're trying to keep most of our money just close to the vest right now, just because a lot of things are going on in the world right now. So we have that. This is where we keep track of that. And then these are all of my sinking funds for the family. So these are all of our sinking funds right here. Okay. So, and I went over this before in our first video. So this is how I track it here. And this is what I was saying, where sometimes you'll take this number here looks a little different because Monarch Money takes in consideration all of these numbers here. So when you adjust these numbers, it then adjusts into the budget as well. So that's why I said that you shouldn't look at that number as an income driver, because it has nothing to do with income. Okay. So these are all of our numbers here, guys. So again, that's April 2026. All in all, I think we did a pretty good job from the budgeting perspective. There were a couple things that we needed to take out of the emergency fund, such as, for that washer and dryer, there were a few little odds and ends that we still had to kind of take out of that emergency fund, but we're looking hopefully to replenish that in the upcoming month here. So if this video was helpful, guys, feel free to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. And as always, thank you and happy budgeting.